Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for joining us for breakfast. I wanted to thank Jim McCrae, our Veteran Service Officer, for cooking again. I just have a couple of quick announcements, and I'm going to be handing it over to what you're all waiting for, Java with John. So Tuesday, October 22nd at 1 o'clock, we have the Concord Players coming to perform here. We've started a new cribbage group on Wednesday mornings at 10. Next Tuesday, October 29th, we have a visitor from Elder Affairs coming to see our senior center, which we're so proud of. So we're going to be having free pizza and cake. We'd love for people to come do their thing so she can see what it is when we're up and running on a normal day. Please sign up if you'd like to join us for lunch. So that's October 29th at noon, free pizza and cake. And then we'll be having dinner that evening as well, so you don't have to eat it all on the 29th. Just stay here and keep eating. All right. Wanted to thank John Mangiarotti, our town manager, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. Let's hear it for Sharon Mercurio, COA Director. Sharon and her team. Good morning. I'm John Mangiarotti. I'm your town manager here in the town of Acton. You're on the Java with John program. You're all here in person. We're also broadcasting live throughout the international World Wide Web. Thank you to Mark Ducci from ActonTV. This program will be recorded. One of the most important parts of this program is hearing from all of you. When we do hear from all of you, I would ask that you either I give you the mic or I'll just repeat your question. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So. How many of you have not been to the Java with John program here at the Senior Center? Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. So I'll start from the beginning for the folks that haven't been here before. So I've been the town manager here for about 6+ years. Being a town manager is the best job in the world. I get to serve the community and I get to work with top-notch professionals that do everything that this community does for its residents, which, as you can see here with this beautiful facility and the programs that are put on here, we do a lot, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud of the leadership that we get from our select board, who are elected by you. They hire me, I hire all the staff, and then we do everything that we need to do to keep people happy, safe, and secure in this community. So. In this program, I usually talk a little bit about myself. I talk a little bit about what's happening in town. I have a few special guests that I'll bring up for a moment or two to say hello to you. And then the big part is to hear from all of you, hear your questions. Today, I want to have a particular focus on, does anyone here on Facebook? There's a lot of things that are said on Facebook, and I'd love to have a special time where we reflect on things that you've read on Facebook that you wanted to ask me about. Because I think there's a lot out there, and I can't be in every chat room addressing questions that come up, but I'd love to hear any that you've seen that you want to ask me here. That's what this is. That's what this is. It's me. You hear it straight from the horse's mouth instead of what you may see online, which isn't always accurate, but sometimes it is. But you can verify here with me. So let's see. Last time we had a pretty good discussion. I actually took you all down Main Street to talk about what's happening in town. I think I might do that again, but I'll start here and work our way up. So starting here, as you come down the hill across the street, we have the Powder Mill Place Apartments. They just broke ground this winter or this fall, and they're hoping to build throughout the season about 2 years of construction. It'll be 230 units. 25% affordable. It'll be an opportunity for people to come to town and move here, or people that want to downsize to a nice new apartment. It's going to be a nice opportunity for people in the next few years. We're also going to be doing over the street, Route 62, using a state grant as part of that project, and extending the sewer as well. Eventually, we'll do Sudbury Road over. I know if you drove here, sometimes it gets bumpy, so we'll get to that eventually. Making our way back up High Street. You can get to River Street somehow from there. We have a park project that we're doing on River Street. We took down the historic and hazardous dam that we had there, and we're building a beautiful historic park to celebrate South Acton's industrial history. If you've driven by or walked by, we have a lookout area made of stone. That's going to be a really nice feature. And if we get more funding to do some parkscaping, it'll be even better. We'll hopefully have that open for all of you this summer. We've had some issues with dirt that we had to take care of there. Working our way back towards Main Street at the train station. Activity's been really picking up there. People are commuting into Boston again. 5 years ago, our parking was maxed out. We're not there right now. We're still not at total capacity, but people are certainly using the parking there going into town, which is nice to see people using that resource. We're also going to turn the old Gordon Richards building, which the town bought a few years ago. That's going to become the Acton Food Pantry. Right now, the Acton Boxborough Food Pantry runs out of Boxborough. And they are going to be signing a lease with us. I think we're going to get it approved Monday night. And they're going to do a renovation of that space. And then within the next 6 months, or maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure exactly when, they'll start running the food pantry out of there. So this is a really important resource to members of the community and the region that need access to food. And having it at that location is really going to expand what they're able to do to help serve our communities. So that's an exciting thing. The town supported that, and it's a good use of that building, which has been vacant and used for storage for the time being. Getting over the other side of the bridge, the Exchange Hall, that beautiful historic building, was recently sold to a church organization. And as of yet, we haven't heard exactly what that's going to look like, but that's what that is, if anyone was wondering. The old fire station across the street is still owned by the town. We're still interested. If you have any ideas for that, let us know. We had tried to sell it a few times and hadn't had any success with that. But if you have any ideas, reach out to me, and we'll see if we can come up with a good idea for that. Working our way back up through Kelly's Corner, we have a 3-year construction project we're in the 2nd year of right now. So we have about a full year left for that project. But I hope that you've noticed that it's really starting to look like something. Now that the utility poles are starting to get moved out of the way, the sidewalks are starting to get laid out, and it's really starting to come together. So hopefully that will, I understand that it creates traffic and it takes longer, but it's for a good reason, and I appreciate your patience, and you're going to love it when it's done. It's really going to look nice. The Kmart building is now a Stop and Shop, which is, I think they're waiting on power from Eversource, so eventually that will become a Stop and Shop. I would guess this winter at some point it'll be open. It was supposed to be open in September, but I think they're still waiting. The school, the access to the school now is going to have a traffic light, which will make that much safer for people as part of the Kelly's Corner project, so that's very exciting. Working our way up Main Street still, we're extending the sewer line from basically in front of the Hosmer House and the Dunkin' Donuts under Route 2 to get to the new the new planned McManus Manor Housing Authority project. The Acton Housing Authority is very proactive. Many housing authorities across the state don't do what our housing authority does. They do a really nice job, not just caring for the housing that they have, but also creating new housing opportunities. Our housing authority has created a new project called McManus Manor, which will be 41 units of senior affordable housing. It will be located right where Kennedy Landscaping Building is now, basically consume that whole area. And so they're going to start, hopefully, this winter as well. They're going to start to break ground this winter if everything lines up the way it's supposed to. Next to that, the town will start working on a dog park, which we'll be constructing further away from the landscaping building, closer to Route 2, is where the dog park will be. We received about $300,000 in funding through a grant to build the dog park, and so that work will start this winter as well. Kicking back over to West Acton, which I missed on my way up here, or my way over, the Gardner Field Playground, which is across the street from the West Acton Village. That was under construction. We built a beautiful playground, and then we had to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit with the landscaping. If you've noticed in the last few weeks, it's really starting to come together. They put in all the trees and the shrubs this past week. There's going to be a beautiful archway that says Gardner Field on it. That'll be installed over a stone. They'll have a stone wall, a stone sort of feature with a beautiful archway. That'll all be coming in this winter, so it'll look like a really nice park. It's already being heavily used, and then it'll look good and something we'll all be proud of. Let's keep going up Main Street. What do we have? We're working very hard as we get to the intersection of Great Road. We're working very hard to make improvements to Great Road. It's a corridor that has had a lot of traffic and pedestrian concerns that we've all been working hard to address. In the last few years, we've added a new stoplight feature for pedestrians over near Donlands, where if you're needing to get across the street from Donlands to the other side of Great Road, now you can push a button and it stops traffic completely and allows you to cross safely, and then the traffic will go back on after a few seconds. That's a huge important enhancement that we've made. We're going to look to do more of those on the other side of Great Road, getting closer to the Littleton line, and we're working with the state to try to accomplish those things in the next few years. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of traffic safety, we've also published several notices to the public about things that we want your input on. We're trying to do new safety improvements to the South Acton Village intersection. We're doing safety improvements to Piper Road. We're looking to build a sidewalk there. There's a lot of things that we're working on that we want your input on. So you can give me your input today, but there's formal ways for you to give your input on the website. So we'd encourage you to check that out. I think I'll stop there. I think I'll take a question because I'm starting to lose steam. Yes?
It's not a question, Rob, but I think next to the dog park, isn't there going to be a senior park there?
Thank you for the question. So in between the area where the McManus Manor housing will be built and the dog park will be constructed, the select board and the town have been working on another amenity in between, sort of an open space, passive recreation. People in the past have referred to it as a senior park. I don't really know what that means. So we're just looking at something that'll be a nice place to be, to benches and things like that. That's not planned out yet, but that's what the plan is. Thank you for raising that. Sure. Yes, we'll start with questions. Yes. Go ahead.
I just had a question about High Street. When you're having the new supermarket up where Kmart was, the old one I'd heard was going to be a distribution center. Would that mean that there would be trucks going up and down High Street that we all use very much?
So the question for viewers at home was about High Street with Stop and Shop having a new store in the Kelly's Corner area. What's going to happen to the one here in South Acton? We haven't heard officially what's going to happen with that. I would expect that it would close, and I would expect that it would be something else. So we can get back to you with specifics about what any impacts would be of the future use of that plaza, but it will change certainly. I'm gonna kick it over to Town Hall matters. The Select Board have been meeting every 2 weeks. That's one of the main things that I do, is I help support the board and all the policy initiatives that they want to address here in this community. And we have a very aggressive agenda for things that we want to get accomplished. They're meeting again Monday night with another packed agenda. If you're not able to come to the meetings, they are broadcast live on ActonTV and on YouTube. So I encourage you to watch those. You can also log in through Zoom to participate in those meetings if you wanted to raise your hand and say something. It's a very open process. One of the things that we're working on is a public works building. So you all I'm sure you know the transfer station, and then behind that is the existing public works facility. It's been there since the 60s or so. It's not adequate for the services that we provide now. In that time, the town was about 5,000 or 10,000 people probably, and we're now 25,000 people. And with the people, we have expanded our roads, we've expanded our sidewalks, we've expanded our parks, we've expanded our expectations for maintenance of all of those things. And so with that becomes a need to have facilities that are adequate to provide those services. And so the town meeting in 2022 approved about $1 million to do a design of a new public works building. And that work has been ongoing. And we are now actually today, we're supposed to be getting an updated cost estimate for what it's going to cost. When we presented at the town meeting, it was in the $25 to $30 million range. I don't know what we'll find today. I expect it'll be more than that just because of the way that things have increased with construction pricing. So that will be something that we'll be discussing, probably not Monday night, because I don't know that we'll get the estimate in a way that we can present Monday night, but I know the Public Works Building Committee is meeting on November 7th, I believe, and those are public meetings where you can go and learn more about the project. We actually had a public forum earlier this month to give information to the public about what we've done with the design and what it looks like, and we got some pretty good feedback. That's all available online too. If you go to actonma.gov/DPW facility, all one word, DPW facility, all the project information is there. And so you may have questions about why do we need a public works building? Those questions can be answered there. What is it going to look like? Where's it going to go? All those answers are there, and I'm happy to talk more about it if people are interested later in the Q&A portion. But I just wanted to let you all know that that's a project that the Select Board have set as a goal to bring to this coming town meeting, which is going to be May, in the first week of May. And because it's going to be a project that is a capital project that we usually pay for over 30 years, it'll be a project that'll be proposed as a debt exclusion, which is a mechanism that is used to pay for large capital projects like schools or fire stations or public works buildings that allow the town to collect additional revenue to pay off that debt service over 30 years, and then the debt payments fall off and they stop collecting that revenue. We've done that for all major projects of that sort. So more to come on all that, but I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. That's a pretty big project that we've been working on for several years, and it's starting to get to a point where we're going to bring it to ask for the town to support it. So that's a big thing with the Select Board are working on. The town budgets, we're working on that as well. All the departments submitted their requests to me. I think they were due last week. I think a few trickled in this week. But the work we do now is to look at all the requests, understand how those needs that have been expressed to us align with the goals of the Select Board, and then how they fit into the revenues that we have available. And then we present the town manager's recommended budget. We're presenting to the Select Board and the Finance Committee this winter. I think it's scheduled for December this year. So I'd encourage you to follow that process if you're interested, and ask me any questions that you have about it. So I will look forward to hearing from all of you with questions and comments and concerns. But I wanted to introduce one of our special guests that we brought here to the Java with John program. This is our fire chief, Anita Arnhem, and I'm very pleased to welcome her to the stage.
Thank you. I might make the cameraman work a little bit. How's everyone doing? Good? John asked me to just introduce myself a little bit, so I'm going to start at the beginning. I was born in Jersey. What's supposed to be the response to that? What exit? Right? But does anyone want to take a stab where I may have grown up? Locally?
Leominster.
Closer. Not that close. Not that close. You're getting warmer.
Sudbury.
Yes. Who said Sudbury? You win the prize. I grew up in Sudbury since I was 2. Went through their school system, got educated, and does anyone want to take a stab at what I first got educated in?
Biology.
Very close. Microbiology and chemistry. So I worked for a couple of years at a company called Integrated Genetics, working on, how many of you have heard of TPA, the drug that's used for clot busting and heart attacks? Worked on that project. The problem with working there was they had windows like this all the way around the lab. I like being outside. I had the opportunity to take an outside job with Boxborough, so I did that. Not losing sight of my background, I also joined the state hazardous materials response team. So I do respond that way and then bring that knowledge and education here to our town in Acton. So I came to Acton in 1989, so I'll be entering my 35th year on the 29th of October. So I've been here for a little bit. Enjoy working with all of you folks and, offering services. Always feel free to ask us questions if we're out on the street or you want to come in or give us a call. We're always here to help you, whatever the question is. And we have some various services we can provide to you in addition to just emergency response. We have a great department of dedicated paramedics and firefighters. I did also work as a paramedic for Emerson for many years. Enjoy the job right now serving you folks, and look forward to, at the end of this, any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for being here. And our next special guest is our conservation agent, Olivia Barksdale. Olivia?
Hello. I have only been here since July, so compared to the chief, I'm fairly new. I grew up in the Maryland, D.C. area, and then I came to Massachusetts for education, where I went to Clark University for environmental science. And then after that, I was at Mass Audubon for about 5 years, helping to protect land all across the state. And so as the conservation agent, I do all of the wetland permitting. So if you have any questions about hazard trees, beaver dams, that's directed at me or the conservation department. So many of you maybe know Ian Bergerman. He has a new title, which he does more outreach than me, but he's out in the woods doing great programming. So I just want to do a quick plug for a lot of upcoming programs that we have. ACT is doing conservation weekly walks, working on the I Hiked Acton Trails Challenge. And you can find more information at the goactontrails.gov. And then he's also doing his first story walk in November at Will's Hole Town Forest, where he'll read actually The Stars for Starters. It's a poetry book pointing out different constellations in the night sky. And then if you ever pass by Town Hall, next door we have the Red House. And there we finished planting over 100 native species to support biodiversity at the local level. And this project's supposed to mirror like a great example for sustainable living, where you have a great pollinator garden next to a sustainable building. And that's a few of our big projects, so I'm happy to answer any questions about conservation.
Thank you, Olivia. We have some other members of the dynamic team that we have here working for you in Acton. Some of them may not want to come up here, but I want to make sure they're all recognized. We have Detective Leo Gower from the police department. We have our clinician from the police department, Beth Van Emberg. We have James McCrae, our veterans officer and chef. The mic is yours, otherwise here we go. Come on up. James McCrae.
Thanks, John. Now, just a couple quick announcements. We have Veterans Day is less than a month away. So as usual, we have a Veterans Day ceremony on the town common on November 11th at 11 a.m. Does it fall on a Monday this year? I believe it does. Well, it's on the 11th at 11 a.m. And in the event of inclement weather, we will move the event up into room 204 in the event of inclement weather, and there will be no rain date. Also, next month is for the monthly breakfast. Veterans eat for free for any veterans here. And also the annual Veterans Breakfast at the high school will be happening again that Monday morning on the 11th at 8:30 or 9. So I know that the entities that be on the high school side of the house have just mailed out the formal invites to the veterans in town, so you should be receiving those shortly. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So why don't we get to the most important part of this program is to hear from all of you. Hear any questions or comments you have for me or for the team. And if I can't answer, I'll do my best. And if not, I can bring it back to you. Yes, let's start over here.
I have one question about Concord entering Two-Way.
Okay.
That's a difficult,
Concord Road near 2A, yes.
I don't know if there's any way traffic could come fast.
So the question is, what are we doing to address and you're talking about East Acton Village, where Concord Road comes out when you go by the rail trail. It's tough to take a left there. It's not easy to take a right. I understand that. Yeah, so I think that is part of what we're looking for to make traffic calming and complete streets improvements to the whole Great Road corridor. And what we do in situations like that, and I don't have the specific plan in front of me, but I believe it's one of the intersections where we're taking intersections that are, wide, really wide, and trying to narrow them to make it less room for people to drive fast. Because the more narrow it is, the more deliberate you have to be when you're taking a right. If it's wide open, you just kind of fly around the corner, right? But if you make it more of a hard turn, a perpendicular turn, then it forces traffic to slow down. So that's one of the measures that we're looking to do on all the intersections along Great Road. I believe that's one of them. So in the meantime, I think if you don't feel comfortable taking a left, I would take a right and then just swing around through one of the plazas. That would be my recommendation. Because you have to be careful, and I get it. And I've done that before. I grew up on a street where I had to do that almost every week. I had to do that in a street that I grew up on, and because of the way people drive, and you just have to do your best. So thanks for the question. Any other questions about anything? Yes.
Special town meeting in November. What is it? What's it for?
So that is so thank you for the question. There was a question about a special town meeting in November. That's something that the select board is going to discuss Monday night. And I try not to get too far ahead of the board, even because they're who I work for. But it's the need for a special town meeting is arising because of a land acquisition. And I think I'd be happy to tell you everything about it after the board completes what they need to do Monday night. So thank you for the question. And thanks for watching the agendas, because that was published on the agenda yesterday. Any other questions? Yes.
EV chargers at Patriots Ballpark near 27 and Great Road.
Yes, there's 2 EV chargers at Veterans Ball Field.
They're activated.
And why has there been police tape around them for 6 months? That's your question. That's the question. I drive by there every morning, and the utility company, they're very busy. They're providing utilities to everyone. I get it, but we're waiting for them to turn the switch. They were actually in town, so we installed them with a grant last year, and we're hoping to get it done this summer by having them come and wire it or whatever they need to do. They didn't end up coming until, I think, September. They did a bunch of stuff there, but it ended up messing up the lights on the ball field, and then I don't know what happened, but I hope that they'll be on before the winter, because that's a fast charger for you EV drivers out there. This is a fast charger where you can get filled up in 20 minutes instead of waiting for how long it takes otherwise. And so it's an important amenity to provide to the community, and it's in a really good spot. So we're hoping that we can turn it on soon. So thank you for the question, and we'll keep working it.
One more question. On Great Road, 380 or so number. Is there another housing complex coming?
A question about a housing complex coming on 380 Great Road. Olivia, do you know what that might be? Doesn't sound familiar. Can you give me another landmark besides the address?
It's on the top of the hill right across where you go to the golf course.
Oh, across from Quail Ridge? Okay, yeah. So that was a project that was approved several years ago, actually, for an affordable housing there, and it's been stalled. That was 3 years ago that it was approved, and I don't think anything's happened with it. Why? Have you seen anything happening with it?
No, I didn't see anything happen, but I know it's about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was approved. Yeah, it was going to be, I think, 2 stories, and I think the market for these things changes, and I don't know what the particular reason is for that one not moving forward, but we haven't heard that it's moving forward. Thank you for the question. And yes, over here.
Is that solar field that we put in almost into Concord? Is that actually online? Is that actually power going into the grid, or is that sitting idle waiting for the power companies?
The solar field that we put in near the Concord line, do you mean on the Water District land?
Yes.
That one's running. Yeah, the Water District did that one a few years ago. So that's operating. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah, when you're just going down, it's not High Street, it's the Aiken Street. Yeah.
So the Water District built a pretty big,
9,000 more going into Concord.
Losbrook Road. The Water District put a pretty big solar field out there with a battery that's been running for a couple of years. I remember I went to the ribbon cutting. That's how I know. On the W.R. Grace property, there's supposed to be a big solar field there that was approved. The people that run the company actually just contacted me this week to meet with us. So I think that's going to get started soon. I don't remember how big it is, but it's very big. That'll be on the W.R. Grace property, and the town will get some revenue from that. But that hasn't started yet. Thank you for the question. Just to stay on solar, we're actually trying to get a solar canopy. You know the solar canopy that's at the Discovery Museum? We're trying to do something very, very similar to that, to the public safety facility. If you know where that is, not the area closest to the veterinarian, but the parking lot in back. We're going to put a solar canopy there, which will provide cover for our vehicles, and it'll provide electricity, generation to power that building, which that building runs 24 hours a day because the police are operating 24 hours a day, and so is dispatch. So that's something that we're trying to get through permitting, and hopefully you'll see that in the next year or so. Yes, any other questions over here? Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned safety on Great Road. Excuse me, and I'm just wondering if that includes extending the sidewalks out there.
Yes, the question was about Great Road safety, but is there any moves to make the sidewalks, extend the sidewalks? And yes, that is part of it. So when we're looking at the complete streets corridor, that includes narrowing intersections, creating sort of bike lanes or bike infrastructure, and then adding sidewalks. And so we'll be looking to do that everywhere we can. The town meeting actually approved funding to advance some design work. And what we do here in Acton, since that's actually a state road, we invest in the design work, and then we put the designs together and we hand them to the state and say, can you please build this? And the better we do in working with them in the design process, the more likely it is to get built. And I think we've had a very good relationship with the state, and so they're ready to help us, and we just need to finish the design work. So that's underway, and we'll be working on that in the next few years. Sidewalks included. No, there's a huge need to have a sidewalk from right where you were just talking about, near the golf course. That's a gap. There's several gaps in sidewalks on Great Road, which we're looking to address in the next few years. And town meeting has supported funding already to advance those issues. Thank you. Questions over here? We haven't heard much from this side of the room. Yes.
Thank you so much for having this meeting.
Sure.
Information.
Well, thank you for coming.
I would like to ask about the new trails in Acton. Is it including walking trails and biking trails?
The new trails? Well, we have thousands of acres of conservation land, and there's trails that are maintained by our trail stewards all throughout those. So if you have questions about how to access those, Olivia can help you with that. Is there a property that you're particularly interested in? I mean, so we have our rail trails, which are, the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail that goes kind of along 27, and then we have the Assabet River Rail Trail, which you can pick up over at the train station. Those are, if you want to bike or walk or snowshoe, you can use those for that. But there's all kinds of trails, and with different levels of complexity, sort of hiking complexity throughout town. Is there one that you want to mention, Olivia? Pratt's Brook. Come on up to the stage.
I was mentioning Pratt's Brook. There's a new Eagle Scout bridge that was constructed, and so that helps over a stream crossing. But if you come into Town Hall, we have paper maps that show a lot of the trails if you want to have a physical map instead of going online to the hikeactontrails.gov.
Where's Pratt's Brook? Leo, where's Pratt's Brook? Off High Street. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from folks or comments? How about my question about Facebook? Anything you want to ask me about that you read on Facebook? Yes.
No, I don't have a question.
Okay. Okay.
Just wondering, the restaurant that was there, the Lyonnaise, that sold like.
Yes. Yeah, the French restaurant.
And then we're as good as it gets, there's supposed to be some restaurant coming into there as well.
Yes. So Lyonnaise, I don't believe is going to be a restaurant anymore. I think it's going to be something else. But the As Good As It Gets, which used to be Bickford's, that's going to be a Mexican restaurant called, I think it's called Luna Mexican or something like that. They just got their liquor license, so it's really happening. The owners were there. They're very excited to get started. I expect that to happen this winter or maybe early 2025. So that's exciting. New Mexican restaurant. Thank you. Yes.
You mentioned that Piper Road across Route 2 might be getting some changes with the sidewalk going in Piper Road, possibly going in Piper Road and getting feedback?
Yeah, so we're doing a feasibility study right now on how to add a sidewalk to Piper Road. Not the entire thing, a section of it, which we have a map of that we published online. I don't know exactly where it is, but it may be where you're talking about.
But it also mentioned encouraging pedestrian crossings at Route 2 on the website.
Well, people cross Route 2. I mean, we don't recommend it, but people do it, and so we need to make it safe in that area. Not at the intersection. We have a new sidewalk on Taylor Road, and we need to continue to build out our infrastructure to make people that want to access things by foot or by wheelchair safe.
The state's not encouraging trying to make that crossing for people at Piper Road.
I don't believe that that's a goal. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if that was a goal of the project.
Yeah. Thought I read that into that feedback that you got.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, there's any other questions? Anyone going apple picking this weekend? No? I'm not either. Yes?
I couldn't hear what the question was
The-
saying
the-
about Piper Road, what part of Piper Road.
Yeah, she was asking where the sidewalk is proposed, and I don't have the specific length in front of me, but I can get back to all of you on that. It's also on our website, and I can also pull it up on my phone after this if you want to hang for a minute. Yes?
When you're going to close the South Acton Church?
South Acton Church, yes. They are, I think they're combining with another congregation, and they're going to be closing that building. We don't know. Well, I think we know that it's happening, but we don't know what's going to go there or who's going to buy it. Thank you. Yeah, that's on School Street.
You know what's going in with Holy Grail?
Yes. Thank you. The question was, what's going in at the Holy Grail? It's a new, pretty cool concept. Velvet Vine is what they're calling it, and it's a lounge type of a coffee shop slash cocktail lounge. So I think it'll be cool. I don't know when they're going to start. We met the owners. They came in. They got their liquor license, and they're going to work on the build out. So Velvet Vine, check it out. And there's another restaurant that I should mention at the old near the train tracks in West Acton. It used to be Orange Door. It used to be something else. Savory Lane. It used to be Savory Lane. It's going to be now the owners of the cheese shop, Eve and Murray's, are expanding into a restaurant at that location. And that's going to be called Silver Girl. So some pretty cool new offerings here in Acton to go out and meet with friends or do whatever on an evening. So check those out. Any other restaurants we should talk about? Oh, question over here, yes.
Anything happening with the McDonald's?
The McDonald's, yes. So the McDonald's is vacant still. I don't think they're going to come back. But we hope, and I have very optimistic that once Stop and Shop is in there and the two retail end caps are in there and the place is really buzzing and the infrastructure is perfect and there's street trees and pedestrian scale lights and nice sidewalks, I think people will be banging down the door to get a restaurant in there. We just need to finish it. So about a year from now, people are going to start wanting to be there, have a restaurant there. But as of right now, we haven't heard which one it'll be. But I think it would be a restaurant. It's supposedly in decent shape, even though it looks bad from the outside. Supposedly it's in decent shape on the inside. And hopefully someone will come in there and provide another offering for us. The McDonald's next to Kmart. I don't know what that is. Next to Kmart, yeah. Yes, another question here.
Just what about the old Meineke building? Will that ever go away?
The old Meineke building, yeah, Bueno Isano, which is a great burrito spot. It looks like they're trying to lease it, so I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the Bueno Isano. But hopefully they find a way to stay there. I think the building is there to stay, as far as I know. Yes? No, so the existing structure will have 2 small retail parts of it, not standalone buildings, but they'll just, so 2 new stores. I don't know, small businesses. We don't know what they are yet, but you've seen that set up in other communities, so it'll be one of the, kind of a coffee shop type of thing, hopefully. Yes?
Are we done with bringing in major auto dealerships on 2A?
The question was, are we done with bringing in major auto dealerships on 2A? So the town actually passed last year an auto dealer bylaw, which created some parameters for the number of car dealerships that can be in certain zoning districts. So there are limits to what would be allowed there going forward. So that would help with addressing your question. I don't know if other ones will come in, but if they do, they'll have to comply with our zoning, which doesn't allow for them to just go everywhere, which is, I think, what you're concerned about. The fire chief had a question or a comment.
Just a quick reminder, what's happening on November 3rd? Daylight savings. What do we do on daylight savings? Change your batteries. So if you have, how many of you have hardwired smoke detectors? Do you have to change your batteries? Yes. Yes. Hardwired smoke detectors have a battery backup. And many times we find that people forget about those batteries and forget to change them. And that you need that if we lose power. We're more likely to have a fire if we lose power. So keep that in mind. And those of you that have newer battery smoke detectors, how do they come now? They come with a sealed battery, that's right. So you don't have to change it, but I would highly recommend hitting the middle button and testing it. So even though you're not changing the batteries in those, at least test it. So just a quick reminder for your safety. If you need help with any of that stuff, please give us a call. We'll send somebody out to help you. Yeah?
No, thank you. No. So also that week, there's an election, November 5th. There's an election that week. Thanks for reminding me, Chief. The voting is at the junior high. More than 7,500 people have already done mail-in ballots. But we have 15,000 registered voters, so we still expect a big turnout that day. We also have early voting. Early voting allows you to cast your ballot in person, but you don't do it at the voting place the day of the election. You do it early, and we're doing that at Town Hall. That actually starts tomorrow, and those hours are listed on the website. It's probably 9, I'm guessing, but if you want to double check, we can. And that'll be starting tomorrow, and then it'll be for a few weeks leading up to the election. So. Any questions about the election? And not about the politics of it, but about the mechanics of it? Yes?
The town has done mail-in.
There's been 7,500 people that applied for mail-in ballots and received them. I don't know how many we've received back yet, but I'm guessing most people will send them back. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people, yeah. Okay, well, I think why don't we end there, unless someone has a softball or a really hard one they want to end with. It's up to you. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you paying attention and asking about the town. Thank you to our guests.